you seen these quiz games on TV? Have you seen them? Hey, do you ever watch the quiz games? Mr. and Mrs. Hey, Family Fortunes with Max Bygraves. That's a belter, Family Fortunes. Have you seen it? You've got Mastermind, Magnus Magnusson. You've got Call My Bluff, Robert Robinson. You've got Who's Baby, Cecil Parkinson. Family Fortunes with Max Bygraves. That's a jolly good show, isn't it? Max Bygraves. On the Family Fortunes, yeah. On Family Fortunes tonight, we've got the Pitt family and their son, Cess. We asked Cess to give us the most popular singer on TV. He said Max Bygraves. Our survey said... Sorry, Max. It's all surveys now. You've got Brucey coming out going, nice to see you. Thank you so much. And tonight, if you play your cards right, I'm the leader of the pack, which makes me such a clever brat. Now then... The recent poll, we asked 100 men, would they like to spend the night with Joan Collins? The 1% said they would, 1% said they wouldn't, and the other 98% said they already had done. Good game. Now, because a lot of these game shows come from America. Do they? Yes, they do. I'll tell you what, that 3-2-1's a good game, isn't it? That comes from Spain, you know. They're from Spain. The only difference is, the Spanish version, the dustbin is the star prize. Have you seen 3-2-1 with Ted Rogers? He's a clever fella, that fella. He comes out and he goes... with a sign. He's not telling you about the show, you know. No, he's not. He's counting the audience.
Gold for the newly born.
Frankincense for the newly born.
Would you accept this book token? I didn't know what else to get him.
Welcome to another edition of Eyes and Teeth in Season 15. Bobby Davro is an absolute legend in the world of British variety and television from the 1980s onwards. I first met Bobby at the Wimbledon Theatre in London when I was 16 and visiting a puppeteer called Simon Buckley, who I'd recently recorded a TV show with in 1993 called The Pig Attraction. And he invited me to his pantomime starring Bobby Davro. Bobby was gracious and always has been to me since. We've since worked many times together in variety shows or charity events, and he's had me in tears of laughter each time, and he's one of the best impressionists out there. Bobby tells me of his big break on TV, where he ended his act with an impression of Elton John on the piano, and this shot him to the title of household name land in his own TV series. We talk of his collaboration with ventriloquist Ray Allen, as well as many more, including his friendship with an icon of his, Gilbert O Sullivan, and this includes Bobby's latest TV spot on BBC's Celebrity Mastermind. We talk about Dave Evans, Frankie Vaughan, Bob Monkhouse, Les Dennis, Peter Kay and Sir Ken Dodd. One of my favourite subjects today was talking about advice of daughters, and Bobby explains it so well. I have to say I laughed a lot and I welled up on occasions too. Bobby really does talk from the heart. He's been there and he's done it. His stage skills and advice is well worth taking in, especially where learning routines and memory comes into it. This is something I've always struggled with. It's taken me 2 years to tie Bobby down for this interview, but he's busy himself, and it was well worth the wait. Welcome to the world's greatest variety show, Variety Royalty, Bobby Davro. You know you've made it when there's only one word to introduce you, like Cher, Madonna, God. Would you please welcome to Eyes and Teeth, the one and only Davro?
Oh, lovely jubbly, yeah. They might confuse that with the leader of the Daleks, but that's Davro.
Oh, yeah. I'll call you Bobby Davro then, 2 words.
You know who that voice is? You know who the same person that did the Daleks was the same person, this is true, and you're going to ask me his name, but I can't remember his name, who did Zippy and George. So Zippy is basically the Daleks.
I had no idea. I had no idea the same guy.
Oh, yeah, then there was George, and he used to do George, and then then it'd be Zippy, because you've never heard Zippy and George speaking together, isn't that right, George? Oh, yeah, he did. And that's why, because he did both voices, and I worked with Malcolm Lord in pantomime a couple of years ago, and he took over as Bungle for the last series, I think. Whatever's the matter, Zippy? Whatever's the matter, Jeffrey? And I will also work with Jeffrey.
You're doing all of them.
You haven't even got going on this.
In panto?
Jeffrey Hayes. Sadly no longer with us, a lovely man.
Yeah, bless him.
He was in a pantomime with me at Woking, and he got a bit upset. I don't really like you doing that impression there, Bobby. And I go, we're going to have to lump it. because I'm doing it, aren't I, George? Yes, I am.
Now, everyone, I've got a surprise for you. Mr. Bobby Davro!
Super game. Pretending to be someone else. I like being other people. Really? Yes. Shall I pretend to be someone else so you can guess who I am?
All right, we'll guess.
Right, here goes. Whatever's the matter, Zippy? Whatever's the matter?
I don't know who that is, do you?
It's you,
Me? Do I walk and talk like that? Oh, dear.
Bobby, do me now, because I'm the best singer.
You're the best singer.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Here's my handle, here's my spout.
Oh, when I see the teacups, hear me shout.
Tip me up and pour me out.
Yeah, I'm not as noisy as that, am I?
Oh, yes, you are.
Do George now, Bobby.
George, right.
Hello, George.
Hello, Bobby. Are you going to do me now?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, you can start then.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm doing you now.
Who is that, me? Give me a kiss.
Oh, a kiss. Oh, I'm a bit shy.
I bet you can't do Jeffrey.
I bet I can.
Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, boys and girls. Hello. Well, it's nearly time for us to go now. Why don't you pretend to be someone else? Goodbye. Take care.
Anyway, I do a very filthy version of
Yes.
sort of, I did it as an underground thing on the internet. You can see it YouTube, and it's called Rainbow Does Top Gear, and I did it for Jeremy Clarkson's 40th birthday. Jeremy Clarkson. And I did it for him. And then the lad that videoed it for me, he was only a student, it cost me 20 quid or so. He said, what should we do with the video? I said, stick it on the YouTube. So they started on YouTube, and it was so popular. He phoned up, he said, why don't you do another one? And I did another one called Rainbow Swingers Party. And I hope your daughter's not listening to this.
You're okay.
Wife, your future ex-wife and your lovely daughter. But I also did another one called Rainbow Swingers Party, and I asked a very famous British porno star called Ben Dover to play Jeffrey. And you can go on there. Your viewers or listeners will experience a lot of smut. So it's not for children. So just be aware.
Oh, brilliant! Bless you. You give me so much information there about voices and puppets. Roy Skelton was the original, wasn't he? It was, yep.
Well, I just remembered it just before you said it. Yeah, Roy Skelton.
Okay, Roy, bless him. And I know Ronnie LeDrew took over Zippy. Yeah. Oh, bless him. But you do these great voices.
My voice.
As a comedy impressionist, Bobby, I mean, your name is. You talk about comedy impressionists in the UK. Your name will always be there as being one of the top comedy impressionists in our country. Right? Yeah. You'll always be Bobby Davro, you know. I mean, the 80s was a great time for many top TV, Saturday night prime time, you know. So your name is, you know, instilled in our minds, you know, me from a kid and all the way through, you know, every decade, there's always something Bobby Davro's doing.
Still around. The thing is, you mentioned the word impressionist. I am an impressionist, but there is a difference between an impressionist, in my opinion, an impressionist and a mimic. I'll give an example of that. Mike Yarwood was a fantastic impressionist, one of the best. He was my hero and a friend. Sadly, he's been struggling a little bit, and he was one of my big heroes. And he was a great impressionist. He wasn't the best mimic. I think as mimicry goes, there's very few better than Alistair McGowan and my friend Danny Postill. They're fantastic mimics. They're not. And they're good impressionists, but they're not great impressionists. There is a difference because mimicry is voice, quality of voices, and impressionist is expression of physicality for the characters you're doing. So if I do somebody like like Ozzy Osbourne, you know, I mean, you can't see it. I actually look like him. I put a wig, Sharon. I put a wig on, you know, and glasses, and I do Ozzy Osbourne, and so it's a good voice, but it's also a good look.
Contortion of the face. Yeah.
And who am I doing now? I won't do the voice. If you can, I won't do the voice. Sadly, the listeners won't be able to see what I'm doing.
It's just a game for me.
I'm a good juggler on the radio. So this is who am I doing? And I'll just do the face. See if you can guess who it is.
Robin Williams.
It is.
Yeah.
And why is
Brilliant.
it that I can do? Okay, I can do the voice now, you know, because Robin Williams. Wow, he was one of my favorite characters to do. Rick and roll, make the ball and really fight. And I used to do Robin Williams, and I actually become Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And that is,
I remember you doing him.
A good impression.
Yeah, you do him. Who am I doing now? Who am I doing?
You're having a poo, aren't you?
That's my dad having a poo. Yeah. Yes. It's not me. It's my dad having a poo. So it's obviously
I don't care to want to see that one. You don't mind if I don't use it. Yeah, it's Steve Stewart's dad. You know who it reminded me of?
If you have any material you can welcome to.
Yeah, of course. No. It reminded me of a comedian from America, one of my favorites, Gilbert Gottfried. He died as well.
Yeah, everyone
I'm doing dies.
He had a unique voice, didn't he? Can you do Gilbert?
Yeah, and he used to cover his face up, and he used to shout. He used to do lots of filthy jokes. And he was great. I loved
always shouted at everything, didn't he?
Yeah. It is true, and I won't do the gags because there's not one clean gag I've ever seen him tell.
No.
The difference between marmalade and jam. Now, you know that one, but I'm not going to do it. It's filthy, but it's funny.
Is it a station? Where did Davro come from? Where did Bobby Davro come from? Is your name Bobby?
No, I'll tell you what it is. Davro is an old Anglo-Saxon word for good-looking, charismatic, and left in the trouser department. And Bobby is also an Anglo-Saxon word for not very. The gag. Let's put a Robin Williams grammar gag in. Gag alert! Wow. Don't be frightened. And so
the singer's coming on in a minute.
yeah. So Robert is my real name. My real name is Robert Nankyville. And Nankyville is a famous name from athletics. If any of the listeners and viewers out there want to look it up, my dad was British mile champion. He ran with Roger Bannister and Chris Chataway in 2 Olympics, 1948, 52. And it was 48 in London, 52 in Helsinki. And my dad held the world record with Roger Bannister and Chris Chataway. It went back in the days of athletics. And very proud of my dad I am. And he had a small business. When he finished athletics, he became a salesman. And he called his business Davro after my brother, David, D-A-V of David, and R-O of Robert. And he called it Davro Discount Stores. And in Middlesex, we had about 4 stores. And I used to work there before I came into show business, just say 25 years. You know what? It's 45 years. I've been in it 45 years now.
45, that's incredible.
They put the 2 names together, Dav and Robert, David, Robert, a couple of names in our. That's where I got the name from, Davro. I couldn't think of anything else. I don't particularly like it. I would have, on reflection, like to have called myself Rob Gaville. There you go, Rob Gaville.
Why Rob Gaville?
Because Robert is my real name, Robert, and Nankyville, so Keville. I would have shortened, taken out the Nank or the Nan, taken out my Nan. Have you ever taken out your Nan? Yeah, one headbutt, one punch. Like going out. We take the ground out. We go like it. That's one of the new impressions I do. I love him. He's fantastic. Yeah. We're going out. Took the wife out, one punch.
I was Mickey Flanagan.
Mickey Flanagan. He's got like sort of chats, doesn't he? He walks around like that. Chicken children. So he's a bit like Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger sort of speaks a bit like that.
It does, doesn't it? It's a lot of merging one into the other.
Yes, I do a lot of impressions of young comedians now, modern comedians in my act. I call the routine "Still Alive at the Apollo." So I'll do Michael McIntyre. I like doing Michael. Yes, and then I'll do a bit of Robin Williams, of course, and of course I do the Alan Carl. Oh yeah, Chatty Man, and then I'll do a bit of the Tim John. What's his name? That's the one. Thank you very much indeed for helping me out on that one. You sort of gave me the nudge. And who else do I do? I do good. I do a very good. If I say it myself, I do a good Julian. I'm just slipping into Julian. I thank you. Wouldn't be the first time, of course. And I do a couple of the bizarre ones. I like Milton Jones. I'll do me Milton Jones.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's great.
Well, I have to do the actions. I had a family outing the other day. Turns out my granddad's gay. So I keep up with the impressions that
It's
that
incredible.
modern.
You really are, but you're always reinventing, aren't you, Bobby? You're keeping up to date. It's so topical. You wouldn't be out of place at the Palladium doing that panto next to Julian Clary. It would be great to go in there and do that now.
Well,
It'd be
look,
nice
they
to have a
have
little
cast.
little
It's
shake up,
terrific.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, my mate Paul Zerdin is on. Your mate.
Yeah.
Is it very competitive? Yeah, being a ventriloquist.
Well, put us in a boxing match. We'll have a go. But I
think you might see him off.
No, he trains, doesn't he? I don't even train. I think
That's obvious. I'm an all-round athlete. But no, I'm not. I used to be, but I'm just all-round now.
Yeah. Eyes and teeth. No competitiveness, really. I mean, it's just there's not many of us, and so we all know about each other. But there's probably about 8 or 9. You know, if ventriloquist dummies were to go on strike, there'd be 9 people out of work in this country. Put it that way. But we all know each other, but always trying to fight for that spot. You know, but Paul Zerdin, Nina Conti, the ones I guess that get the TV. You know, the TV executives feel like they only need 2. Whereas they used to have loads, you know, up to the 80s.
Who was your favourite? Now, I know who, as far as I'm concerned, I knew him very well, was Ray Allen. Technically, I thought he was amazing.
The master.
Yeah. Was he? Would you call him the master?
Yeah, he was the master. But Keith Harris, for me as well, was the master. And so I was like Keith Harris, Ray Allen, Jimmy Tamley. Those guys.
Now, listen, I love Jimmy Tamley. And they treated him so badly on Britain's Got Talent. I almost threw a brick at the TV. I thought it was disgusting.
It was. No respect really for the act and the person, you know. And Jimmy's got a heart of gold, you know. There's no way that he would have known that they were going to do that. And they took him all the way to to that moment. It's awful. And we still talk about it today, but he's kind of got over it, you know. It's one of those things. He's been there. He won New Faces in '87, and that's why I'm here now talking to you, because he gave me that time, you know, and he gave me a career. So I love him to bits. And we're talking half hour ago. So love Jim. But
give him my best wishes, because that show isn't about the talent. It's about the show. When people will wake up and realise, and it's annoying that I had another friend of mine, a very good impressionist called Andy Fleming. You might have worked with Andy.
Yes, yeah.
He's done some pantos with me.
Andy's
lovely
great.
mimic, lovely impressionist, very talented. He went on there, they destroyed him. Kev Orkian. Look at what they did with Kev Orkian. What a fantastic act he is.
Yeah.
They destroyed him. Sometimes they tend to do that, television, and it's very cruel. And then they give people like dogs with 3 legs and people that are slightly not 100% a shilling, 100% the full shilling.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't just. Where'd you go?
You have to realise that is what that show is about. But of course, you only get one chance, or many acts only get one chance to
prove themselves, really. Yeah,
and then you're in the lap of the gods.
Yeah, there's nowhere else to go, is there? It's a shame.
Oh, controversial.
I remember mimicking a teacher when I was at school. I remember being on the bench in the assembly, and I mimicked the headmistress, and she saw me. It's the only time I actually remember doing it. But she saw me, and I was just mimicking with my hands, and I had to stand outside her office for the next hour, and it was so embarrassing. But mimicking for you, were you doing it at a young age, Bobby?
Well, that was a weird thing you just told me. I used to do a few of my teachers, and I used to do the headmaster. And I went to a boys' school, and it was quite old-fashioned. And he used to speak, Dr. Hindle, his name was, sound like some sort of German SS officer, doesn't he? Dr. Hindle. And he used to speak like Harold Wilson. You remember Sir Harold Wilson?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, 10 to pages 460 of the physics books. And I was doing this, making me mates laugh, and he came in behind me. Go to my room at Nankerville. So I went there and I got 3 swipes of the cane.
Oh.
He said, I wouldn't have minded you doing me, but you didn't do me very well, so bend over. Whack, whack, whack. You'll be a legend.
Wow.
You mentioned Ray Allen. I wanted to get on that because I actually did an impression of Lord Charles with Ray Allen.
I remember seeing it. Yeah.
And they dressed me up as Lord Charles, and they looked sort of like I put a plastic coating on my face. And I did a couple of episodes of my show with him on, did little routines, and then we went and did the summertime special.
Oh, brilliant! You've done that together.
Yeah, and this is a good story because I sat there and you started. I swallowed a 50p piece. You've swallowed a 50p piece. Yes, a 50p piece. How do you feel? No change. And I did it, and it went very well. And then when he got home, the phone rang, and it was his grandmother or his auntie phoned up and said, "I saw your show tonight, Ray. I thought you were very good, but I don't like the new dummy." That was me. Couldn't figure it out. God bless him.
It just goes to show. I mean, the makeup and your impressions of a dummy. She actually thought you was a proper wooden figure. So it was brilliant. I remember you as Lord Charles. It's such a great sketch that you did with Ray.
I had the monocle on and everything.
Yeah.
I used to have to sit like that. I love that.
I wonder what she did like about the new figure. It's too big, or
no, it got laughs.
Eyes and Teeth. Bobby, your big break, was it Her Majesty's Theatre?
Yes, it was a big turning point in my career, my early career, because I did the first series and I did okay, went a bit unnoticed, if I remember rightly. And then they asked me to do the second series. I did well enough in the first, and I came on. I did Freddie's Star, you know, and I did the old gag about the snail going across the garden and the bloke on the lawnmower, and he was singing that song, Chants on the Muse, and the bloke comes over the lawnmower and runs him over, and he goes, tit-tat. That was the gag. And then I dressed up as Cliff Richard, and I did a bit of Cliff Richard, and I always do Cliff. I used to be able to sing like, but I've got a bit of a problem with my voice. A few years back, I got a bad flu, and I worked on top of it, as we do. And I got a slight blemish in my vocal folder. It was called a hemorrhage in my, not a hemorrhoid, in my vocal cord. It was a hemorrhage, and it scarred it a little bit. So there's it's a transition from my middle voice to top voice, which has a bump in it now. And sometimes it's very difficult to certain impressions I do. I mean, I can talk like Cliff, but there's certain impressions I do that I can't sing quite as strongly as I used to.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame, because you've got such a strong repertoire of singing impressions as well, like Joe Longthorne. I mean, you must have worked with Joe.
Was fantastic. I love Joe. He was one of the greats.
Great.
Another performer, which is sadly missed and should have done so much more with his career. But that live at Her Majesty's, when I'd done the gags, I did the gags, and then I sat at the piano and did Billy Joel and Neil Sedaka. Hello, I'm Neil Sedaka. and then Gilbert O Sullivan, who is one of my heroes.
Of course, he's one of your good mates as well.
He is, which links nicely in to my Mastermind win.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. Your questions or your subject was, you told me about it the other day, and I sat down with my whole family to watch you on Mastermind, and you nailed it. You won the whole show. Well done. And there was nothing that you weren't going to get right, was it? 10 questions.
Well, not with Gilbert. No. Gilbert Sullivan in 1971. I turned on the radio and heard Nothing Rhymed. If I give up the seat I've been saving to some elderly lady or man. And I heard that song, fell in love with the music, it became my idol. And to this day, it remains my idol. Why do I sort of have that sort of idol? I'm a bit of an anorak when it comes to Gilbert, or Ray, as I know him, because I always knew he would mean something to my life. And 16, 17 years later, I met him, and it was like meeting somebody I'd known all my life, and we became the greatest of friends. He's the loveliest man. He's incredibly talented. He's one of the greatest songwriters in the world. He should get more recognition. And his family, his girls were my bridesmaids when I got married to my ex-wife, and who once told me she could never live without me, but I found out last week she's still alive. and he's become a dear friend. And when the Mastermind, when the transmission of it went, I flew over as a surprise. I flew over to Jersey, where he lives, and we watched it together.
Well, here we are. It's very exciting. About 5 minutes to go until I'm on Celebrity Mastermind. Oh, tune in and watch me answering questions on the great Gilbert O Sullivan, his music and career. Are you ready? I'm ready. Gonna get all the answers wrong.
Can I ask our first celebrity contender to please make their way to the black chair?
None.
Your name?
Bobby Davro.
Your occupation?
Actor, comedian.
Your chosen charity?
It is the Woking and Sandbear Hospice and Wellbeing Care.
And your specialist subject?
Gilbert O Sullivan.
The acclaimed singer-songwriter who became one of the UK's biggest stars in the early 1970s. In 1.5 minutes, let's go. Gilbert O Sullivan was born in 1946 in which city in Ireland?
Waterford.
Yes, while he was a student at Swindon Art College, O'Sullivan played drums in a band formed by which future member of the group Supertramp?
Rick Davis.
Yes. What was the name of the producer and manager who gave O'Sullivan his big break, although the partnership ended with a legal dispute over the rights to his songs?
Gordon Mills.
Yes, at the Grammy Awards ceremony in 1973, which of O'Sullivan's songs was nominated for 3 awards, including Song of the Year?
Alone Again Naturally.
Yes, O'Sullivan's first UK hit single, Nothing Rhymed, features the lines, "When I'm drinking my Bonaparte shandy, eating more than enough," what?
Apple Pies.
Yes, which Scottish singer joins O'Sullivan on the track Take Love on his 2022 album Driven, and also features with him in a video for the song?
Katie Tunstall.
Yes, the original UK version of which album by O'Sullivan features on its front cover a coloured drawing of the singer by Don Bax wearing his familiar vintage outfit and oversized cloth cap with a tram in the background.
It is himself.
Yes. To which of O'Sullivan's hits did the dance troupe Pan's People perform on Top of the Pops in 1973, the dancers being accompanied by 5 dogs, one of which wandered off stage shortly after the song began?
Get Down.
Yes, which American rapper did O'Sullivan successfully sue in 1991 over the unauthorized use of a sample from his hit Alone Again Naturally, in a landmark case that changed the legal basis of sampling?
Bismarcky.
Yes. What's the title of the track from O'Sullivan's 1990s album I've Started So I'll Finish? Sounds of the Loop, in which he duets with the noted singer Peggy Lee.
I know it so well. I can't think straight.
You just did think straight, that's it.
Oh, goodness.
Bobby, you had no passes and you got them all right, 10 points.
Thank you very much. Oh well, goodness gracious.
That must have been a really proud moment of you actually knowing that you got them all right as well. You watched
Well,
it
yeah.
together. Yeah. Oh, bless him. He wouldn't have expected anything less. But he is a great songwriter. My dad played his records all the way through our childhoods. What beautiful lyrics and music as well. He's just great.
Beautiful. He's
great
like
musician.
a poet. He's a poet, you know.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it.
And a lovely, charming man. And they're like my second family.
No, that's so sweet. Yeah, my parents have met him at because he does signings afterwards as well, and
yes, he does.
He's good with his fans. But that's so nice to hear. I'm working Jersey a couple of times this year, so hopefully he'll be working there as well. It'll be great to see him.
He doesn't tend to work there. He lives in Jersey, but he's doing tours. He's going out to the States. He does Europe, Japan. He's very big in, and he's well worth seeing. He's got a lovely album out now called Given, and I can't stop. There's one particular track, and we sung it in the kitchen together when I went over there a few Saturdays ago, and it's called Blue Anchor Bay, and it's a wonderful track. Get his new album there. I'm plugging his album for him. I always give him a plug if I get round.
I will. We'll plug that on this as well.
It had to be so. It couldn't be no Claire. I told you not to sit over there. You ruined your father's best chair.
Gilbert, you're here. I'm just doing my tribute to you, see? Listen, you're not dressed like this. What's happened then? Why?
Well, I used to, but about 60 years ago.
60 years ago?
Times have changed. If I wore that today, I'd get arrested.
I probably will when I leave here tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd love to hear one of Gilbert's new songs, wouldn't we, eh? Yeah! Well, I can't tell you how much this means to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gilbert O Sullivan. Bye, Gilbert.
It's easy to see when you're blind. I walks in the park, on mountains to climb. If I give up the seat I've been saving to some elderly lady, oh man, am I being a good boy, am I? your pride and joy. Mother, please, if you please, say I am.
We talked about mimics, impressionists, copycats. It's a great TV show that was around. There were so many names on it that people would know of today as well. Yourself, of course. But Dave Evans, you know.
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
No, dear Dave, I
he
miss
was
him
a lovely
dearly.
fella, Lee Evans' father. And that's why Lee, out of a lot of the modern comics, and Lee, it's a bit of Lee Evans, right? He was a young lad, and I remember meeting him a couple of times. He came to the studios when we were recording Copycats, the one that Dave was in. And Dave was a bolshy, strong, tough Welshman, and he loved to fight. He beat the butcher. He went around and gave the butcher a black eye because he flirted with his wife. He was like that. But he taught stagecraft, and very few people, or modern comedians and entertainers, they don't know stagecraft because no one's taught them. And I learned from the best. I learned from Les Dawson, Bob Monkhouse. Learned from him the economy of words within a joke, he told me, and it was wonderful. And Frankie Vaughan, and Frankie told me how to take a round of applause at the end, and it's a piece of stagecraft which I use to this day, and I pass it on to people because that's what it should be about. If you want to learn, it's like pantomime. You have to learn pantomime. It's a way of doing pantomime. It's completely different to stand up. And Dave was brilliant. He played musical instruments, did impressions, funny man. And he taught Lee that. And if you ever watched Lee Evans' videos, you can see when he sits there and he plays the piano, he knows how to take a round of applause. He knows how to bow. He knows the tricks. I will teach those tricks or the things that I've learned, stagecraft. For instance, there's a wonderful thing that someone told me not that long ago about Danny LaRue. Danny LaRue. I did 2 pantomimes with him, one in Nottingham and one in Woking. And he had a little trick. He was getting old by the time he was working with me. And he was a wonderful performer. And what he told the lighting man, said, just as every time I come on, will you just raise the lights? Just make it slightly brighter than any other scene for when people come on. And I know it sounded a bit selfish, but when he came on, I could see the lights. They slightly lightened up, and it was a little trick. It made him look the star that he was.
That's just that little thing, you know. And
little touch.
Never known that. That is magic, though, isn't it? And it's someone who knows their worth. You know, it's fantastic.
Yes, and always and be generous. Be generous in this game because it's what keeps performers. It's what makes performers. And Frankie Vaughan told me how to take a call. He used to speak like that. I said, "How is it, Frankie?" He said, "What do you mean by a call?" I didn't even know what a call was then. He said, at the end of the show, said, take 3 steps. I won't do the voice. 3 steps back. Open your hands in humbleness. Open your hands. Show them your hands. Take 3 steps back. Now, when you walk away from the microphone, if they've liked you, they will think you're not going to do anymore, and they applaud loudly, slightly louder than they might if you carried on. Then take 2 steps forward, and you'll feel the applause die down slightly, and then take another 3 steps backwards. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, and that's milking the audience. And those little tips are things that I teach other performers. Although I don't like to think of myself old, but yeah, the youngsters.
No, well, people look up to you. And Frankie Vaughan, isn't he the same person who says, when you come onto the stage, let them see your suit and your shoes? Is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Your entrance as well.
Yeah, and Ken Dodd. By Jove. Cheers, awesome. I used to do him. I used to do a terminal gag. I said, what a lovely day. What a lovely day. All right, missus. Lovely day for sticking half a pound of Lurpak down your underpants and shouting, how's that for a knob of butter? And he was wonderful. And although I never particularly found him funny, it's a strange thing. I saw him as a brilliant genius comedian. And he would look, as he came on, and he would look up to the gods, up to the circle and the upper circle of the theatre. He worked a theatre, and he brought the theatre, every seat in the house, he brought them in with him. Some comedians, you can see it, that don't know how to work a room. Yeah. They don't know how to work. They work the first few rows of the stalls and disregard the circle and the upper circle.
You'll lose them people up there, won't you?
Well, yeah,
to draw them in.
To get those people, and they're little tips that you learn from the greats, from Max Bygraves and people like that. Les Dawson, what a genius, what a wordsmith. And I still learn. If I can't do something like play the mouth organ, I've always wanted to play the mouth organ, I do a Billy Joel song called Piano Man, and there's a mouth organ bit in it. And I met a guy called Elio Pace, who, if you get a chance to see him, he does the most
brilliant, fantastic
showman, and he does a Billy Joel tribute show, and he's the best. He's brilliant. And he came on my charity show that I put on for the hospice, and he, I said, "Would you come on?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "On one condition, I want to learn the mouth organ. How can I do that?" And I only had 10 days, so I said, he said, "Is it?" I said, "Is it easy?" He said, "Go and get a mouth organ in C, and just, I guess, practice. It's not that difficult." So for 10 days, I had 10 days to do it. So I got this little mouth organ, and I was blowing it, and I could hear the kids go, "Shut up, Dad, shut up. We're trying to watch Love Island. Can I shut up?" And I can blow, and I've got the first note, da, da. Yeah, I got that one. Second note, then I was up and down this thing. I was driving the kids mad. But it turns out it's just for one note, really.
Yeah.
And I learned to play it. And on the night we went out and did it, and he closed the first half, and I came out and played the mouth organ and sung with Elio, and it was a huge success. And my middle daughter Tierney came in the break in half time, and she was crying. I said, "What's the matter, sweetheart? Who's upset you?" She said, "No, Dad." She said, I had to listen to that. I won't tell you the words she used. Crack for nearly 2 weeks. You blowing that effing mouth organ, and tonight you pinned it, and I'm crying because I'm so proud of you. And that is the reward you get for hard work.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful, man. It's so nice to hear that from your daughter as well. I'm still waiting to hear that from my daughters, that they enjoy what I do. They're still very young. So,
here's the thing for you. How old is your daughter?
6 and 11. They're still telling me to shut up, but we'll get there.
Well, the 11-year-old, here's the thing for you. When my friend Les Dennis phoned me up, and he just said, "I've been very touched by something I just heard on the radio," and it was a man talking about daughters and what happens, and whether or not you can still pick your daughter up on, put them to post a letter. There'll come a time when it's the last time you ever do it, and it stops overnight. You pick your daughter up to post a letter, you put them on your shoulders, carrying them about. The last time they kiss you on the lips, which can be the sweetest kiss in the world, can't it? As you will know. She'll stop soon. She'll bend her head, and you'll have to kiss them on the forehead. And it's the last time. And if you knew it was going to be the last time, you'd bottle that and cherish it, wouldn't you? But you don't know. No father knows. And last time you have a bath with them, last time you can walk around with nothing on, last time, there are loads of things. You can drop them off at school without them getting embarrassed, and it will stop. And if you knew it was the last time, you would cherish it. And the kissing bit is wonderful, because my daughter came back from uni. She was 20 years old, and I hadn't seen her for a few months. And she came out. I was so pleased to see her. I went to kiss her, and she turned her head, and I kissed her on the cheek, and she rubbed it like that. I said, "Don't rub it off." And she said, "I'm not, Dad." She said, I'm rubbing it in."
Wow.
That is something which is just part of nature, part of what happens.
Wow. Yeah,
they come back to you.
As a dad, you can, I can feel that already, and my 11-year-old, that has stopped. Those things have stopped, I don't pick her up. She can reach the post box, but my 6-year-old posted a letter for me just yesterday at school drop off, and she did it without me. So even the youngest now, as those days are going, no, I completely understand that. I respect that, and you have to enjoy every moment that you've got.
You never know when it's the last moment. Never stay up with the wife and never go to bed on an argument. Stay up all night and carry on arguing. One sec.
Yes, and I'll use that tonight, I think.
Well, it's part of life. So I'm just having a drink again. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol for 35 days.
Really?
Yeah, that's not consecutively. That's over a 25-year period. I'm drinking, I'm smoking, and I'm not looking after myself. I have a little bit of grief in my life. My lovely fiancée has got cancer, unfortunately, and it's brought a lot of stress. And my best friend, lovely Richard, who's been a friend of mine since I was 15, who's helped me in life when I've needed it most. He's not been well. He might make it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I've been visiting him in hospital, and I went in there yesterday, and he hadn't shaved, and I gave him a shave. Have you ever shaved another man's face?
Not yet, no.
It's the weirdest feeling. It's sort of like, it's an uncomfortable feeling to do that.
I've done my wife's.
Her face.
Yeah.
that the one behind you there with the moustache? She's gonna love you.
Not now. It's gone.
Yeah. I shaved my girlfriend once. I can't tell you where it was. I think it was Ipswich. No, it was somewhere worse than that. And the worst one, I can't do these jokes because I'm scared that you'll only edit them out anyway. But
I can't edit this.
It's about the redhead. About never go out with a redhead that's had a Brazilian because it looks like a fish finger. And life is about laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. I always say that. And the whole woke and the cancel culture has moved in, and it's making our game appear to be difficult. It isn't. If everything, I'll tell you, this is information. Everything is funny if you can laugh at it. And just because a small minority, don't like your humour or don't like your jokes or whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter as long as you do. And don't listen to critics. Don't listen to any critic. The only critic you need to listen to is yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's only somebody else's taste. It's only their taste or their opinion. And, everyone is entitled to be offended. It doesn't mean to say we all have to be offended as well. Because offence isn't given, it is taken.
You were talking earlier about passing wisdom and stuff onto people, you know, and you did this for me. I don't know if you remember, you were the first celebrity in my car. Now, I'm not I wasn't kidnapping.
Were we dogging? We weren't doing dogging, were we?
We were dogging in Bournemouth. It was actually your car broke down, and I gave you a lift to Weymouth. And we were with John King. We were with down in Weymouth. And I drove you to your digs in Bournemouth. You were doing a show down there, but. Yeah, I asked you some advice, Bobby, and I remember it specifically. It was about I've still have got a bad memory, and I had a bad memory back then. And you said, what? Have you got any paper? I said, yes. And you wrote this. I've still got it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And you wrote 1 to 12. Symbols. And you put a word with a picture.
Yeah. Do you use that?
Number 2 was swan. Number 3 was pair of boobs. Chair was 4 because it looks like, and it's word association with images and stuff. And yes, I've used it and it's helped. So I want to thank you for that. That was 25 years ago, I think.
Well,
but wow.
I still use that system. I also have other systems. So I have an incredible memory. I don't practice it. You can really perfect it if you ever get a book, which is great to read, by Dominic O'Brien.
Okay.
Who I had the good fortune to meet down in Southend. I was doing pantomime, and he came to see the pantomime. I said, "You're Dominic O'Brien, aren't you?" He says, "Yes, world memory champion." Yes, I said, "I've read your book, and it's helped me so much." An association is it's a mnemonic system, I think it's called, and you can. And I have, for instance, I did have it here. I won't go there. A playing cards. When I was talking about competition between performers, a competition about things is finding originality. It's finding something that other people don't do, or finding a way. A bit like Frank Carson, you said, "Yes, we tell them," but it's the way you present things. Like for you, it would be a character, a different character. I don't. You have half a lager. What are your other characters?
Ponga the Skunk, Rod Vegas on the guitar. Yeah. You don't know him yet. Yeah,
I don't know him. So you're doing new things and new characters. It's very important. To find something that other people haven't done, and it isn't an easy job. But if you can find a way of presenting things, I got a pack of playing cards, and on each playing card, I wrote an impression. And basically, there's 13 cards in each suit, so it's 4 times 13. Are you good at maths?
Yeah, 26, 52. Is it? 52 cards, isn't it? Yeah,
52 cards, of course.
Yeah,
cool. I should have known that, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Around the houses, I'm going, there's 13 cards. Anyway,
54 with 2 jokers, but there's only one joker in your pack.
Yeah, I don't use the jokers, funny enough. I could add those, put them in. It wouldn't have made any difference. I could add my 2. I didn't think to do that. So you've just given me, 54. Let's say 54.
More
but
material.
I feel 52 because I haven't included the jokers. Don't complicate things, Hewlett. Punch fist to you. Yeah. And so I wrote every impression on a card, all different impressions, 52 voices. and I memorized them. So hearts was the heart, home is where the heart is. So the images that I use for those characters, like the one of hearts was it was Donald Trump. You know, it's Donald Trump. 2 hearts was Michael McIntyre. 3 hearts, etc., etc. And so I used the trip around my house where I learnt this. So hearts represent a trip, all the rooms in my house, the first 13 rooms in my house. Then clubs was my golf club. I visualised the holes, like the ace of club is Brucey. Pick one, pick any number you like. You know, for
it's 7 of clubs.
Right, the 7 now. You should mention 7 is a very long hole. The 7th hole, Ashford Manor Golf Course, where I learned to play golf, and it's the Rain Man. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman. Yeah, very sparkly. So I see them walking down the hole, and then spades is a snooker table. So 1 is Robin Williams' ace. 2 is because it's a yellow ball. It's worth 2. Is yellow Bart Simpson. Yellow, prepare to be dazzled. And then green is Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog. Brown is Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Brown. And then blue is Marge Simpson, because she has blue hair. And I visualise all these things. 6 is Julian. 7 is my favourite. You know, 7 is Chris Eubank. Yeah, because he is black. No disrespect, I'm not being racist, but it's a way of remembering things.
Of course.
And so I can give you a pack of playing cards. You can mix them up. You bring it out, and you get 3 things you get with that. You get the ability to remember what name goes with the card, and then you get the impression, and you also get a joke within each card. So there's 52 jokes with 52 impressions, and it's a way of finding something original, and that is the thing that you have to strive for, and I still strive for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I know that you're always updating. I mean, if you go back to the TV shows, you would do Alex Higgins, Gaza, Prince Charles, Frank Spencer, David Essex, Paul Daniels, Stephen Hawkins, who you've done more recently, before we lost him.
That's a dreadful one.
Yeah, but you have updated it. You're doing all these, alternative comedians now on Live at the Apollo, and it's very difficult, like you say, to come up with new material or new characters, but you do it. If you see someone new on telly, if they're big, then you've got to get them in the act.
Yeah, again, I have you sometimes the ones you mentioned, I don't tend to use him. I might occasionally do Alex Higgins just to remember people and some of the impressions. I used to do Jules. I put Jules Holland back in, and now over here, I can't do it. I've got a croaky voice today. Now over here, a smorgasbord of entertainment, and we have Annie Lennox or whoever you impersonate. But my Stephen Hawking is a bit controversial. People tend to think you shouldn't take the mickey out of him. But he was such a hero of mine because I'm very much into physics, and you can't really see. I do sort of. It's not ridiculing. I'm doing impression of him, and I tend to. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can either do it like this, where you would shake your lips. You go, "Hello, everybody. My name is Professor Stephen Hawking." Or you can get a glass, right? And it sounds quite good when you use a glass. And I was a huge fan of Stephen Hawkins, and I do a joke at the end of my impression. It's Hawkins' last words. Right? Do you remember Hawking's last words?
No.
Yeah. That was a dreadful joke. I use my computer then.
That's so good.
It is a little bit bad taste, but if he saw it, he would. I know he would laugh at it.
Well, he would have got the punchline completely. Yeah, and he had a sense of humour. I know he had a good sense of humour.
Of course he did. And it's in the end, whatever jokes you tell, as long as you're not hurting people with wicked words or nastiness, it's just a joke. So I do a wonderful parody in my show now with Randy Newman. You remember Randy Newman, the songwriter who wrote Toy Story? And I do. Not many people do him, and I do quite a good impression of Randy. And I put it into one of the routines about offence. And if you got offended in me, if you got offended by me, if the joke's told out of blue, and I'm upset and I've offended you, don't expect the rest of us to be that too. It's just you got offended by me. And it's a nice little parody. And I work something that I was told by Roy Walker, that wonderful Irish comedian and host of Catchphrase. I met him when I was 20 and I was just coming into the business, and I went backstage to meet him. And I said, how do you get a wonderful show, Roy? How do you get to be that good? And how do I'm just starting out. And he told me this. He said, just do an hour a day, Bob. Do an hour a day. And I do an hour a day to this day. I still think about it. I work at things. I still write. And it's a shame I haven't got quite the vehicle now to get back on and do stuff, because it's changed, and I can accept that. It takes a bit of accepting, but I've been very blessed. I'm a very blessed man.
Back in that day, in that great decade of the 80s, well, your TV shows were thriving, Bobby. Did you have creative control over the material? It was very different back then. But were you able to, did you have writers on the show every day? Did you have to stick with what they did, or did they let you take over?
It was very difficult because we didn't have a big turnaround. We only had sort of like 10 days. But all the best stuff that I did was my own stuff. And I was a bit, I was restricted somewhat, because back then we didn't have we didn't have license to do the kind of material that I really wanted to do, because it was Saturday night for families. And that was it, really. But I'm not exactly the family entertainer anymore. I'll do that in pantomime, and I've learnt my trade in pantomime. In fact, I'm writing one at the moment. I'm nearly finished now. We're going out this Easter, and we're going all over the place doing we start in Dorking on the 1st of April. We're at the Dunfermline, Newcastle, all over the country. We do about 2 weeks of panto. But I am a grown-ups entertainer now. I don't want to be somebody that goes out and works. I don't work great in front of children, because it's not what I want to do when I do stand-up. I want to be adult.
Yeah, of course, you can't be yourself. Yeah, and I first saw you in panto in Wimbledon in '93. You were with Nobby the Sheep, Simon Buckley. Yeah, Victor Spinetti was in it, and Ray Meagher from Home and Away.
Ray Marr. His name's Ray Marr. It's spelled funny, M-E-A-G-R-E. And he is one of my dearest friends.
Lovely guy.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
He is we became friends then. We stayed in touch. Don't get to see him very often. He just did This Is Your Life, and I sent over a video clip to wish him well on that. And that was at Wimbledon, gosh, I don't know how many years ago. Oh, I'll tell you how many years ago, because he was the first person ever to see my middle daughter 26 years ago, believe it or not.
Oh, bless. Wow. Yeah,
panto is a great thing to learn, and performance such as yourself, it's a great vehicle for you, and I know you do them, and it's something you have to learn.
Yeah, I've just got back into it now, just recently. So I just went down to Cardiff at the New Theatre. So great 6 weeks down there with Mike Doyle.
Yeah, Mike, he's great talent. He is. And you mentioned about learning and the thing, and I went to see the Palladium pantomime. It sort of all links together. And Gary Wilmot was in it, who was also in Copycats with me.
Yes.
Lovely fella. We've stayed friends all these years. And he did a wonderful routine to the music of the Can-Can, Bizet's Can-Can. And he did all the London Underground stations.
Oh, brilliant.
And I thought it was brilliant. And the standing ovation was fantastic, which he deserved. And afterwards, we had a little party afterwards. And I said, that was brilliant, Gary. Absolutely amazing how you remembered all those things. He said, yes. He said, it took me about 3 months. He said, I bet you wish you'd thought of it. And I said, I will tomorrow. And I did think of it tomorrow. So I phoned him up a couple of days later. I said, look, Gary, I know that you did the Can-Can, and I've been looking for different music, but I can't find anything that fits. I would like to do that. He said, well, it wasn't necessarily my idea, because it had been done by Des O'Connor, but the subject I chose, which was London Underground, no one had done. And I said, well, would you mind if I modelled, I call it modelling, taking an idea, but doing it in your way. And I said, I would like to do the countries of the world. And so I wrote the countries of the world routine, Can-Can countries, I call it. And it contains 192 countries. And I wrote it in 5 days, and it all rhymes, believe it or not.
Wow.
And it took me 5 days to write it, which was far quicker than I thought it would. And then it took me about 3 months to learn it. And it takes some learning. I split it into 6. It starts slowly: Laos, Israel, Seychelles, Sierra Leone, Greece, Maldives, Cyprus, Comoros, Barbados, Belarus, New Zealand, Iceland, Finland, Thailand, Kenya, Ghana, Cuba, China. Then it picks up Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, and Pakistan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan, Bhutan, Japan, and South Sudan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Montenegro, and Iraq, and it goes all the way through. And at the end of it, there's a reprise, which is a break in the music, and then come back on and finish it. And he goes, Mauritius, Panama, Qatar, the UAE, Solomon Islands, Equatorial Guinea, Kiribati and Ukraine, St. Lucia, Samoa, Spain, Vanuatu and Tuvalu, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominican Republic, Antigua, Kuwait, Barbuda, Myanmar. Then I go Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and England. Now, I wave a flag, the English flag, which is the white with the cross there, the St. George's flag.
Yes.
And I'm in England. But when I go to Scotland and work, I have to go England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland. I've got 4 different flags because I don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm suitably impressed with that. I know I saw you recently at the Max Miller show just over a year ago, and you stormed it, and you did the countries there. It's brilliant to see.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't leave you once you learn it. Just in Cardiff, just recently, I was impressed with myself. It took me 2 months to learn Shamfa Bushwigish Gogeda Gwynjoba Santa Cilia Gogogoch. But when you learn it, you can't get it out of your head.
Well, I do the thing. It's a lot easier if you say, I can do that Welsh railway station. And they go on then. And I go, Cardiff Central.
You got the accent as well.
I learned the alphabet backwards.
Did you?
Yes. ZYXWV, UTS, RNQ, PONMKL, MLK. Oh no, I've messed it up now. MLK, HIJ, then it goes FED, CBA. There you go. And I learned that just because I was bored.
Yes. Did you ever do cruise ships? Because you can get bored on cruise ships. I did a lot of time on cruise ships being bored. I just want to go home, but so you get to learn routines, I guess. It's a great way to do that.
Just work. It's just, I'm at the moment, I'm writing the panto, so I'm doing that. And it's finding different ways of doing traditional. In pantomime, it tends to be not upon the stage. If I was not upon the stage, or it's the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, I sort of researched it, and I found an old Grumbleweeds appearance on the good old days back in 1984 or something like that, 85. And they did a slightly different version. And it's, I get up in the morning, brush my teeth and diddly-dee, and it hasn't been done. So I'm redoing that and doing it in my own fashion. Because pantomime needs
fresh.
Yeah, I keep it fresh.
Yeah, fresh. Yeah, nice to have a different approach to it. And coming up with characters is great. You said you played Lord Charles once, but you have recently stuck a ventriloquist character into the show.
Yeah, I have. Yes,
which we spoke about a couple of years ago, and you put it into the show. And I know Neville King did this in the 70s or 80s. But you've got this character, and it's so funny just to look at.
Yeah, but did he do it live? I don't think he did it actually as a piece, did he? I think, because I researched it, and I think he did it just for stag nights or something, or just. I don't think he actually did it as a character on stage.
No, I think it was stag parties. I think maybe, but there's no footage of this character because it's very naughty. Yes.
It's I did a summer run. I think it was a week. I did that in Bognor, and. You'll know him, a lovely guy, Max Fulham.
Yeah, Max is brilliant. Yeah,
he's great. He's really coming on great now. He's really got the experience building up, and that's what you have to have. And I watched him, and he did a granddad, and I thought, well, and he did it well. But I've seen granddads. Then he did. Can't remember what he might have done, a baby or something. I've seen babies.
He's got a monkey, yeah.
Oh, he's got a monkey. That was it. And I thought, well, I've seen monkeys, Keith Harris, and a few other. Ventriloquist, and I want to do something different if I do it. And I thought, well, what hasn't been done? And it is, of course, a talking phallus. I have him here. I'm going to put him on because I know you want to see it. Hello! Now here from Senor Willie. Say hello, Senor Willie.
Hello, Senor. You are a very good ventriloquist, eh?
Yeah, he's very good, yeah. Oh, good. Now, in COVID, look, you take the picture of hang on.
I'll get a picture for you.
Hello!
That is so funny.
And you come from Mexico. Where'd you come from? Mexico. Of course, I'm not going to even try and do ventriloquism. I just say, well, no, and you'll be pleased to know I'm going to be getting my cock out in a minute. And they go, oh, and I go,
no, it's me, Senor Willie.
And he's a Mexican, for those listening, and he got a moustache, and he's got a willy head, and I'll put a hat on it so it doesn't look too graphic. And it's original. I think it's original. Because no one's doing it. I haven't seen a ventriloquist do it. And it's the material, of course, could be it's limitless, isn't it? Really, when you come to think, you can do all the willy gags.
It is.
Why have you come over to England?
I come over to England, senor, to take part in the National Erection Championships.
The National Erection Championships. Are you doing well?
Si, senor, I'm through to the semis.
The gags like that. You have a girlfriend? No, senor, she left me. She left you.
Si, senor. Yes, I am lovesick.
Lovesick?
Well, she calls it chlamydia.
It's a Jimmy Carr joke.
Oh.
I'll nick a couple of gags if necessary. And if he gets excited, look, he goes, he wakes it up and he
This
really
he had a baggy neck, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant. I remember we sat in the car park and we were writing a couple of lines there and then, weren't we? It's the first time I've seen him.
You helped me with it, and thank you very much.
Well, that just a couple of little lines there, and it was, but you had them already. It comes to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So to
I have a
speak.
photographic memory almost.
Do you? That's brilliant.
I have an encyclopedia of jokes. I own up to being the thief of bad gags, but I don't take people's routines. It's, as I said earlier, it's about finding your own material, finding your own way of doing something, because it isn't easy finding original routines and ways of presenting things. It's the actual thought that goes behind it and the material within it. You know, I've seen people going, you do the masks, don't you? The talking masks. Who invented masks? Who was the first ventriloquist?
The ventriloquist, Ron Lucas, but there was a comedian called Joel Hodgson who come up with the mask, put it on the person, and Ron Lucas saw the idea and then brought it to the ventriloquist world. So Ron Lucas was the first, really, and he did it in the late 80s on British television. Yeah,
I think that I'm right in saying that nearly every ventriloquist does it. And I mean, I've seen you do it. I've seen Paul Zerdin do it. He does it beautifully. So does Nina Conti. In fact, Nina, I saw her on live. No, what was it? Live at the Apollo. Yes. And because ventriloquists hadn't been seen doing it, she sort of gets the kudos for it. Mm-hmm. But I know that it wasn't an original thing. But that's finding the original thing, which is very difficult. I do a routine on a revolving chair. Now, I didn't realise that, and I was sent a picture to sign by some fan and said, would you sign this picture? And it was a picture of me in a studio back in 1985, doing it as an introduction for one of my TV shows. And I saw it, and it had glasses on my lap, this picture, and I was sitting in a chair, and I thought, did he get that picture? And then I remembered I'd done it, and basically it was a revolving chair, and I did Parkinson then. My guest tonight is Dame Edna. And I'd spin round, put her glasses on. Hello, darling, it's me. And Michael Caine, spin round again. My name's Michael Caine, do you know? And it was all impressions on a chair.
I love that.
And then the tag of it, I stood up. That's all for me, Michael Parkinson. And I stood up and fell over because I was dizzy. And it reminded me. So then I thought, well, I'll redo that. And I got all the impressions that I could think or I might not have been using. And I don't often do it. I'll tell you the reason why. It was, and I thought, well, I'll do it modern. So I might do Jonathan Ross, for instance. Let's find out who's in the green room. And then spin round, or Graham Norton. and people that interview people. Alan Carr was in. So I'm thinking of all these impressions on burning up material. Who else sits in a chair? Of course, Stephen Hawking. Sat in a chair. So I wrote a whole parody of a song from the Beach Boys called I Get Around. Ba, I get around. I'm sitting in the chair, and I did a whole thing. But it was slightly, and this has, the reason why I didn't do that was because it was very funny. It was one of the funniest things I ever did, Stephen Hawking impression. But it didn't sit with me comfortably. I felt as though it was a little bit too bad taste. Yeah, and if you have any doubts about your material as a comic business, if you have any doubts, if everyone hates it but you love it and you want to do it, you do it. Because it's not about it. But if you have any doubts about the thing you might be doing, not quite right with me, then don't do it. It's like underselling a joke. It's no good going out there and telling a dirty joke but making it clean. Just don't do it.
Yeah, of course.
The same thing.
Yeah,
and it's
great advice.
It's a bit like that. Well, it is advice. Some people can do it, some people can't. I self-edit as I go along. I mean, I like being rude. I like being adult. I like being a bit shocking. And that Michael, and that was the sort of thing with Michael Barrymore, for instance. I worked with Michael when he was first started doing all the stags back in the day of stag nights and hen nights, and he was on there, and he used to struggle more times than I saw him go well, and people just didn't quite get him. And it was, and then all of a sudden they did get him, and he became one of the biggest stars on TV. So just stick with what you believe in for yourself, and don't let anyone tell you that it's rubbish. As long as you don't think it's rubbish, then you go ahead and do it.
That's be true to yourself.
One day you'll stand out, you see. By doing that Senor Willie, I haven't done a lot of social networking because obviously I've had a few private issues with my girlfriend and my fiance, and it's been difficult. So I haven't really had a chance to do a lot of social networking. I'm going to try and get someone in to help me, try and get it out there so people can see it. People can see my dick.
You can get it out there.
Really?
Well, Bobby, you're so fondly remembered, mate, in this business. You've been there, you've done it, and you're still doing it, still inventing, and it's, you know, to look up to you is because you keep reinventing yourself, and you've done so much on the telly. I mean, coming onto Mastermind and winning it like you did a few weeks ago, that was so good to see. But Peter Kay has paid tribute to you in this song, and you come out to the song, or is it your finale now, the 500 miles?
Well, that was a gift, Steve. I was at home one day and the phone rang. Hello, Bobby Davro. I went, who's that? He went, Peter Kay. I said, oh, F off. I don't know Peter Kay. Well, no, it is Peter Kay. We used to come and see it. It went up in summer season. I'm a Bolton lad. I said, is it really you, Peter? He went, aye. I said, I'm such a fan, which I am. He's an amazing comedian, amazing writer, great actor. So, yeah, I thought he was fantastic. So we got chatting. I said, what can I do for you? He said, we're doing video for Comic Relief down Elstree. Are you doing anything Saturday? I said, no, I'll come down. So I went down, met him, and he took me to one side. I said, great to meet you, Peter. He said, oh, great to meet you. You know, you're fantastic. We used to watch you when we were kids. Made me feel very old. I said, he said, I've got a surprise. I said, what is it? He said, when we start taking video, you'll find out. I'm not going to tell you, but just watch that. So I watched them come out. They did the 500 miles with the Little Britain boys. And in the middle of it, instead of the la-li-la-las, they all pointed at me and went, Bobby Davro. So afterwards, I said, thank you for that. Will it be in the last record? Yeah, said it's in recording. So everywhere I went for when they recorded it, went to #1 and for Comic Relief, and for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, everywhere I went, everyone was going Bobby Davro, Bobby Davro. So I use it now as my opening song. So thank you, Peter Kay.
Yeah, when I hear the original song now, I sing Bobby Davro in it. You can't help not singing Bobby Davro in it. It's
Everybody
amazing.
Does.
It's a great song.
Kept my name alive in a way, and I was very, very grateful to him.
Well, you've kept your name alive. Bobby, I've worked with you a couple of times. You've always been so good to me. You've looked out for the younger generation. You know Danny Postile is a great young talent. But you give us a chance as well. Well, thank you, mate. Thank you for your time, always, especially being on this show, Eyes and Teeth. It means a lot. But I really appreciate your time, mate. I know it's precious.
Time is precious. And that is one thing that you give your girls. And this is the last bit of advice I give you, because you can tell from the way I've talked. I'm very much a family man. It's been tricky. When I got divorced, it was extremely tricky, but I kept the family together as best I could, because the best thing and the most precious thing you can give them isn't money. It isn't material stuff. It's your time. You give your girls time, mate, because they grow up so very quickly. And as we were speaking earlier, they'll be gone out your arms soon. They'll come back when they get older, but your time is the most valuable thing you can give them. And family comes before business for me, because Show business is a business. It's about earning as much money as you can, sometimes good money, sometimes not so good. And don't let it go to your head, however much fame you get. I think I'm still pretty much the same guy as I was when I started. I still love performing. I don't particularly like the business. I think, as we said earlier, it can be very cruel to people. But I've been very lucky, and I'm very grateful for what it gave me. And I'm still going. I'm still above ground. And that's the most important thing. Keep your feet on that ground and continue to work, continue to be happy, and continue to be healthy. He says as he pours himself another drink, clink, clink, and has another cigarette.
Well, have a drink to yourself. I'm going to have one myself here for you, Bobby Davro. Thank you so much for being on Eyes and Teeth. That is the best advice I'm taking away with me about our daughters and looking after yourself. But yeah, love to Victoria, love to your best mate as well. And I'm thinking about you and them. And God bless you, Bobby Davro. Thanks for being on the show.
It's absolutely fabulous. And keep doing what you're doing. You're brilliant, mate.
Thanks, Goggy.
Well, lots of love. Give my love to you, Arthur.
I will do.
Bye, senor.
Thanks to Bobby Davro for taking the time today. I always end up in tears talking with him, but this time it's for multiple reasons. He knows the business and he knows how to entertain, so I'm thankful for his advice, and it will help those starting out, even though I learned a few gems myself in this episode. You can follow Bobby on various social media sites, on Twitter @BobbyDavro1, and to book him you can find him on many agencies. Today's quote comes from Gilbert O Sullivan. "Success for me is to write what I think is a good song. When I'm pleased with it, that for me is a magical moment. I never lost that buzz." You can buy Gilbert's latest album and his back catalogue if you go to his website at www.gilbertosullivan.co.uk. Eyes and Teeth is written, produced and hosted by Steve Hewlett. Vocals by Larissa, Lola and Nina Hewlett. Additional vocals by Rich T. The Eyes and Teeth music and jingles are produced and performed by Kevin Dean. Sorry, I nearly forgot, you can also buy that memory book by Dominic O'Brien. Join me on the next edition of Eyes and Teeth when I talk to the producer and founder of the Thursford Christmas Spectacular, the one and only John Cushion.